Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. That's right. It's Saturday, so that means one thing, a recap of all the important stories throughout the week. Hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week on Crime Talk. Barry Morpheu preliminary hearing, day 3. Now, just like last time, we sent Julie down there to Chaffee County, depending on the part of the state in which you reside. That depends on how you pronounce it. Anyway, she is down there in the courtroom, and she has sent me copious notes throughout the hearing. So let's get to it. You are getting it as I am getting it as well. So first, Jonathan Grusing, G-R-U-S-I-N-G, takes the stand, and he's there to talk about shooting chipmunks. Apparently, Barry doesn't ever say he was running around, and says in general terms around 85 chipmunks that he has shot. Then there was testimony regarding trash runs. The first is a bus stop in Broomfield. Apparently, Barry stated he pulled over to put the hotel address in his phone. When he pulled over, he admitted to throwing out junk, which is wrappers and cans. There's no video or pictures of him throwing anything out at the bus stop. Trash run number 2. This is the south side of the hotel. No picture or video of Barry throwing trash away here. Barry never said he threw trash out at this location. Now, Barry apparently walks across the lobby carrying boots and a blue garment. He also has a backpack on. The defense attorney, Drew Nielsen, asked if he was hiding something, he would have just put those in the backpack, correct? The officer apparently agreed. The boots, July 8th. I'm saying there was stuff in my truck. Old boots, threw away. Old clothes, all kinds of junk was thrown away. As it relates to McDonald's, he was thinking about going in, got some trash in his car, decided not to eat at McDonald's. He said the trash was just wrappers and bottles and junk that was in the car. On July 8th of 2020, Barry Morpheu apparently told the police, said, there was a trash can. I just threw it out there. This is, trash run number 3. This is the first picture that the state has of Barry Morpheu throwing trash out. It's at a gas station. He also washed the windows. Well, why? Because apparently there were bugs on the windshield. Barry said he threw things away. He says he's kind of a tightwad, and he doesn't want to pay for trash pickup. He left work for Broomfield workers, where the men were there. That's why he wasn't there long. As it relates to the Men's Warehouse dumpster, that was kind of a big deal last time. Apparently, Barry Morpheu's statement was that Barry says, not to my knowledge, when asked about taking something out to a dumpster. He could have been getting crap out of his truck and throwing in a trash can. But there were no photographs or video of him throwing anything away at the Men's Warehouse. Trash run number 5. After Barry went to the work site, surveillance video of Barry throwing away a plastic tree pot. Dozens of cameras outside the hotel, and he planned to stay for at least 2 days. On cross-examination, Drew Nielsen asked, so basically you want us to believe that he drove evidence of a murder from rural Salida to Broomfield, where he was going to stay for 2 days. Now, apparently, Barry then makes a call to Suzanne at 11:20 a.m. He was in the car when he made this call. At 12:06, a call came in to Mallory. He said that he was also in the truck when he made this call. He entered the hotel at 12:42 p.m. He calls Cassidy from the car as well. And then call number 6 was from Martin Ritter. This was also made from the car at 5:45 p.m. Now, Nielsen asked the detective on cross-examination, is it possible he, referring to Barry Morpheu, left the hotel and you didn't see it on surveillance? Officer or Deputy Grusing, G-R-U-S-I-N-G, said, yes, I've watched all of it. The camera shoots right at his door. If he's using the room door, I would have seen it. Then there was a lot of talk about the Tranquilizer Dart Cap. A photo of what was found in the dryer was handed to the detective. Now, Nielsen pulls out a box of brand new darts. Now, Grusing says that these are the same as what's in the picture that he was just shown. Nielsen asked, does this have a cap on it? Grusing says it does not. Nielsen then asks, the dart itself doesn't have a cap on it. Grusing, not in that package, no. There was no photo of a needle that was inside a box of tranquilizers. You take it out, it has a cap on it. The needle is what is used to inject a dart with tranquilizer. A needle is not a tranquilizer dart. What was found in the dryer is not a tranquilizer dart cap. The one found in Barry's garage was empty. The darts don't come with any fluid in them. Nielsen then pulls out the darts owner's manual and flips to page 8, and it discusses loading and filling the syringe. You hold the device at a 45-degree angle, remain upright until ready to fire tranquilizer dart when it's shot out of a tranquilizer gun. Empty darts, but no tranquilizer chemicals found by investigators. Barry says, I don't recall having any left. Grusing asked Barry Morpheu if tranquilizers could have been part of the work bench that he was cleaning off. Barry said he has no idea how the cap got into the dryer. The plastic cap was not found until May 19th of 2020. Nielsen asks the officer, you can't say how many days it was in the dryer or how it got there. Nielsen also drove home the point that Barry Morpheu was excluded from any DNA on the cap. No tranquilizer dart found inside the home or outside the home. Only empty vessels found inside the garage. And guess what? The tranquilizer gun was found in the garage. And when they found the gun, they tested the tranquilizer gun, and the officer had to agree that it didn't work. The next thing that was discussed were text messages going back to May 6th. Apparently, the I'm done text message, there's a screenshot of this text. The text was still existing on Barry Morpheu's phone. Barry gave his phone to law enforcement. Time on the text is approximately 10:13 a.m. Now, Jean Ritter is a neighbor and a friend, and she was with Suzanne from 9 to 11 a.m. on May 6th. She was with Suzanne when Suzanne sent the message to Barry. Now, Jean says she was very energetic. This message makes it seem like she's done with the relationship, but then they went on a pizza date after this date. Now, Suzanne calls and texts Barry multiple times on May 7th and May 8th about dinner. Barry texts Suzanne, stop by if you can. Barry was building a beach. Suzanne texts Barry, just getting to the trail. You mind if it's 5:30 or so? They then go to Moonlight Pizza. Barry goes to bed around 9 p.m. and Suzanne stays up on her laptop, apparently friending multiple men this night on Facebook. The next morning, there's the Tailwinds job site, then the 105 job site. This was at 8 and 9:30 a.m. At Tailwind. Suzanne is friend requesting men. Barry asks Suzanne if she wants to go on a hike. Suzanne apparently asks where. Numerous cordial texts and phone calls after the May 6th I'm done text. May 9th at 11 a.m., Barry finished at the job site. 11:11 a.m., Barry buys something at Poncha Springs Lumberyard at 11:27 a.m. Barry arrives home at 11:27 a.m. At 11:14, Suzanne changes her Facebook password. On that same day at 11:28, she messages Leibler on LinkedIn that he's coming home. Investigators don't know how Suzanne is tracking Barry. At 2:04 p.m., he's always gone somewhere. It never stops. 2:07 p.m., last communication on LinkedIn with Leibler. Barry's phone recording GPS data in the direction where the bike was hidden, according to investigators. And they say yes, but they are not confident. The police are not confident about the GPS placing Barry Morpheu near where the bike was found. Nielsen on cross-examination. Could it be referred to as static drift? That has to do with the GPS signals. They brought in Jeff Lindsay, basically was asked, what is your theory of the missing 18 miles where Barry Morpheu allegedly turned left instead of right on Highway 50 on May 10th? Well, agents met with Barry and they asked him which way he turned. Said right. Now, the police believe, as I understand it, that the helmet of Suzanne Morpheu was found and it would have been on this route, and the helmet was dropped sometime in March of 2021. Now, Barry says he turned left and he said he saw an elk and wanted to follow it. I'm just reading you what their testimony is. Okay, Barry's phone was put in airplane mode on May 9th and May 10th. The officer was asked, is that enough time to dispose of a body? Grusing said yes. Nielsen objects. How can you determine any of this? About 6 hours on May 9th, nighttime through May 10th in the morning, the phone is in airplane mode and not moving from the residence. Similar time frame on May 8th, the Barry's phone went into airplane mode. A pinpoint diagram that was handed to Grusings tells Barry about the cell phone ping diagram map. Apparently, he was asked, your phone is moving around. Were you looking for her? Barry said, I shoot chipmunks. When I'm home, I go around and shoot them. He shoots the chipmunks with a .22 caliber, and apparently the tranquilizer is also a .22 caliber as well. There's some more testimony regarding trash runs. Does Mr. Morpheu say exactly what he throws out? Grusing, no, he does not. At McDonald's, he pushed the garbage down with his arm. Investigators say there may be more than one trip to the trash can at McDonald's. They also state that they can't tell that it's a container of tranquilizer medication. Barry says he shoots deer with the tranquilizer gun from the garage in the breezeway, the east side of the house where Suzanne was laying out when she sent a picture to Libler. Barry says he last shot the tranquilizer gun in late April 2020. He states he shoots a deer to get the horns and the antler. Is it possible Barry was tracking Suzanne? According to Grusing, yes. It is possible, and Barry texted Suzanne at 11 a.m. on May 9th that he was coming home and that the texts were deleted. Grusing agreed, yes, they were. At the Moonlight Pizza, Barry talked about moving to Arizona. Suzanne sends a real estate listing in Salida to Barry on May 9th. There was some more talk about the tranquilizer gun and the needle sheath. Now, Barry says, see, I think this makes me look bad. No wonder people in Chaffee County hate me. This makes me look bad. The state then called up Derek Graham. He's an agent with CBI. He's been with the CBI for 2 years, but he's been with the Colorado Springs Police Department for 34 years. He works in their homicide disappearances, and he was called in this case on May 14th. That's when they talked about the bike helmet that was found off of Highway 50 between County Road 225 and 226. They believe that this was Suzanne's bike helmet because there was emergency contact information inside. No real damage to the helmet, just a couple of minor scratches, and it was approximately 0.5 miles west of 225. Now, the 2015 white Range Rover found inside the garage in the house on Puma Path. They took photos, and the passenger seat of the vehicle was taken. 2 bottles of hot tub chemicals were found in there. They were empty. The Camelback was on the seat, similar to the one Suzanne wore in her biking selfies. A purse with her ID was in the car as well. Now, Morpheu's residence, there was talk about bedding having been removed from the bed. Sheets were found in the dryer. There was also testimony that the recording device, the spy pen that was the big talk last time, was found in a box of bras in Suzanne's side of the walk-in closet. There was a search of the laundry room. Clothing in the dryer was found, sheets in the dryer, a cap for the syringe for a dart that were also found in the safe in the garage. Now, on cross-examination, Iris Itan asked Graham the following questions and provided the following information. He says that first that the helmet was located on day 14 of the search, and it appeared to be what they referred to as a simple toss from Highway 50. Tire track castings were taken near and where the helmet was found, and the tire castings were done to compare to Barry Morpheu's tires and the 2 Range Rovers, and none were a match. Barry's DNA was excluded from the helmet that was found that was Suzanne's. The hot tub chemicals containers. Barry was at the Salida Spa, and he was there between 4 and 5, but the owner said Barry did not purchase anything. He called the owner by name and asked when Colton would come by the house to fix the spa. The owner, Janelle, did not notice anything different in how he was acting. This was confirmed. The day was May 9th when they saw him. The spa and stove, apparently back in September 25th of 2020, Janelle Neville said again that Barry was in the store between 5 and 6 and reiterated that he did not want to buy anything. ITAN, a cross-examination, said, are you aware Suzanne had a to-do list on the counter? One of the things there was Mal's sheets. The sheets in the dryer were Mallory's sheets. And Mallory, Macy, and their friends were on a road trip. Now, the court had to interrupt at this point and said, hey, we're trying to limit everybody's time here, and you're at 14 minutes now. The judge said, wrap it up. ITAN moved on and went back to the helmet. Cross-examination said, how far was the helmet found from the road? And it says it was found by the search and rescue people. As it related to the spa, were you able to get receipts? Graham stated there were no receipts. When asked what else did you find in the dryer, he said clothing, men's khaki shorts, Mr. Morpheu's that he wore previously. Undersheriff Andy Roerich testified about his 20 plus years of police experience as an animal control officer. He seized the vehicle at the scene and helped the CBI search the vehicle. They have a picture of Barry's car shown with Roerich. Yes, it was dirty. A backpack was found. And when they searched Suzanne's car, obviously they found the purse in the car, pictures of the purse, and the contents taken by the deputies. A wallet found inside the purse. It had Suzanne driver's license, credit card, medical card, cash, and checks. The search of the vehicle happened on the 11th or the 12th. When asked what was the significance, the officer stated that her medical card was in the wallet, but she had a doctor's appointment the next day. She left cash, and it would have been hard to travel without an ID. When they searched the Morpheu's house, the big information that came out that apparently a door frame in the master bedroom that the police saw what they observed to be damaged on the door. A crack apparently on the door frame. It was typically caused when a door frame is broken into from the outside. They also found a .22 caliber shell that was unspent, not used, on Suzanne's side of the bed, the left side, near the nightstand. The police also found a book, Courage to Change. It was a book found sitting in the area in the house near the Bible. The significance of the books was apparently family members said that they needed to look for three things: the Bible, Suzanne's Al-Anon book, as well as her journal. Well, they found the Bible, they found the Al-Anon book, but they didn't find the journal. However, the police stated that when they searched the house, they looked in the fireplace, obviously. Firewood was filled up, not used. Paper material, wrapping paper, pieces not completely burned. Hangers from folders in a filing cabinet were found. A binding was also found. Suzanne's journal was apparently not found. Dogs searched the area, needing an article of clothing from Suzanne. Barry went inside to get clothing. Deputies went with him at 10:39 p.m. when they were conducting that search. Somehow the deputies thought that this was odd, and basically the defense objected at this point because, frankly, that is speculation. That wouldn't be admissible at trial, but the rules of evidence at a preliminary hearing are somewhat relaxed. Apparently, there's body cam video showing the deputy escorting Barry to grab a garment belonging to Suzanne so they could provide to the dogs to search. Bicycle shorts were taken. Riding gloves were also on the floor. And Barry is not asking any questions. He's not trying to call her phone. This was the last place he saw his wife, according to the testimony, but doesn't even look around for her. The state also brought in somebody from the Division of Wildlife to talk about antlers and when they would shed their antlers. And basically they said this time of year, where Barry said that he was doing this, didn't really make sense. But you know, if that's what they're hanging their hat on, it may be a little more difficult. Clearly, what's kind of coming together here for the prosecution is that they're trying to show that Barry answers don't make sense, and the whole issue as it relates to the journal. Perhaps I didn't go into it as thoroughly as I should have, but apparently they found what they believed to be a journal that was burned in the fireplace. Suzanne's journal was not found, but ultimately they can't say it was hers, but it was in fact what they believed to be missing. They didn't find any antlers in the house, which I guess would seem to contradict Barry Morpheu, that he was taking these antlers from animals that he would put to sleep. Now, I've always said this, if a defendant's going to get convicted, it's probably going to be his own words that got him convicted. And clearly, this is why police officers want people to talk, so that they can go back through and nitpick and basically see if you're lying or contradicting yourself in anything that you say. Also, early on at the court proceedings, there was pictures taken of Barry Morpheu's hands. Apparently, there were several cuts, different stages of healing. On the upper left arm, there appeared to be what the officer stated were fingernail injuries, 3 abrasions parallel to one another. That will ultimately be a question for a jury to decide. I don't think the officers are experts to say that those were in fact fingernail scrapes. And when you have somebody that does landscaping for a living, you would kind of expect them to have, well, scrapes and rough hands. There was also some testimony regarding the bike when it was found. Basically, the handlebars were turned 180 degrees around. They brought in a bicycle mechanic. He was apparently quite experienced, and who serviced Suzanne's bike 3 times. The bike was had brand new tires put on back in May 7th. It was the Santa Cruz Julian bike. The bike was found with the handlebars twisted 180 degrees. I guess this is referred as ghost riding. Apparently the cable wraps around the stem and someone's pushing the bike instead of riding it. He noted he didn't see damage on the bike that came from a fall or a crash. And he said the handlebars twisted and pulled the cable away from the barrel adjuster, causing the brakes to drag, but no further questions. Susan I-10 then got back up. There was a question regarding following Barry in regards to getting clothing for Suzanne, and she made it a point that he was following direction of law enforcement. He's asked to get a plastic bag. He gets it. They leave. May 10th evening, the bike is found. According to I-10, then Barry was emotional when he arrived. Isn't that true, Officer Rorich? And Rorich said, no, I disagree. Not good. A photograph was sent to Libler in a distinctive bikini. Now, during the search of the house, apparently this bikini was found with other bathing suits in the master closet. This is the bathing suit that she was apparently taking a photograph of, laying out, sent it to Libler when Barry was apparently in the house. Nobody bothered to check to see if there was any tears, rips, or blood or anything like that. Apparently was never done. So that's a quick recap of the morning. Sorry to just kind of read you those notes, but I wanted to give you as much information as you can, because let's face it, you're not going to get that in a news report or even little tweets that people are sending out. So hopefully you find it informative. If not, hopefully you skipped over it. One more thing I want to add is that the officer spoke with the homeowners that previously owned the house before Barry and Suzanne Morpheu, and they said that the damage to the door frame at the master bedroom wasn't there when they resided there. So we'll see. Little pieces coming together. Still no body. Still no place of the crime. Still no method of the crime. And no confession or anything along those lines directly relating Barry Morpheu to the death of Suzanne Morpheu. At this point, very circumstantial. Understand we still have a day and a half left to go. We'll bring you any breaking news, and we'll do it tomorrow night as well when we go live for our Tuesday night show. Next on the docket, let's talk about the Barry Morpheu preliminary hearing. When we spoke last on Tuesday night, it was right after the 3rd day of the preliminary hearing. Remember, there was a staggering of a couple of weeks in between days. And Julie, our producer, went down and observed the proceedings. We went through her notes. But I think one thing that came clear after reviewing Julie's notes, as well as talking with her, was that, well, there is no smoking gun. And although this is only a preliminary hearing, the evidence was hardly overwhelming. Now, that's what I took from it. And I don't think that Julie's going to tell me what she thinks I want to hear or don't want to hear. I just tell her to tell me the truth. But she was not impressed by neither the strength or the nature of the evidence that was being presented. Now, obviously, there was a lot of hearsay evidence presented, but the reality of it is there's nothing to really pin Barry Morpheu to it. Did he do it? We don't know for sure. If anybody knows for sure, go let the police authorities know the exact time, the exact manner, so that they can narrow this down. But right now, it seems like a lot of, well, if this happened, then this could have happened, and then this could have happened. And I'm telling you, from a criminal defense perspective, you may not want to hear this, but that may get you beyond a preliminary hearing, but it's not going to get you a guilty verdict at trial. Now, a lot can change, but a lot of people thought, oh, the district attorney must be holding back some of their better evidence for trial. No, they're trying to get and proof evident, presumption great, so that Barry Morpheu doesn't get a bond. Now, the judge set a hearing for September 17th to announce whether there's probable cause. Now, I'm a realist. Do I think the judge will probably find probable cause? I would have to say yes, because most judges do not throw charges out at a preliminary hearing. Why? Because the standard is so low. All the evidence must be viewed in the light most favorable to the prosecution, drawing all inferences in the prosecution's favor. I mean, talk about an advantage, right? That's like, in a sports saying that every move that the team A makes is correct. It can't be questioned. And even if it's completely explainable, you still got to view it in the light most favorable to team A. So if I was a betting person, I would say the charges go forward on the preliminary hearing based upon that, but the judge will not find proof evident, presumption great, and set a bond in a reasonable amount of money. The judge apparently said, according to Julie, that he wants to go through his some 25 pages of notes and be able to explain the decision that the judge is going to render. Clearly, the judge wants everyone to know what he did and why. A couple of observations that I think were significant from Julie. The first thing was, at the first round of the preliminary hearing, the daughters for Barry Morpheu were clearly on his side. And guess what? They are clearly still on his side. Now, Julie says that the girls were gesturing and making facial expressions and even some guffaws when evidence came out at the hearing, and we're just like, whatever, which I think is interesting because you may recall it was the judge who didn't want to release the affidavit for the arrest warrant simply for the fact that the girls were young, and somehow he didn't want this information to come out until they've had a chance to review it. Well, apparently they've had a chance to review it. They've made their peace, what have you, if they even need to, with their father, and they are clearly on side Team Barry. The other little interesting tidbit is apparently Salida, a very small town. Most people believe in the local community that he probably did it. The question is, well, can they prove it? He also, like most people charged with first-degree murder and allegedly, for the death of your wife, has already developed quite a fan club. At least 8 people allegedly have gone to the jail to see Barry and comfort him. I don't know, talk with him, whatever they're doing. Maybe they're just good friends. But that's the talk of the town. Yes, it isn't backed up. I haven't seen the jail records, but I have no reason to doubt the source of information that it's coming from. So we'll see. We'll continue to watch, and we'll have another video coming out shortly regarding all of the reasons why Barry Morpheu is guilty, and maybe a little explanation as to, well, why that really doesn't mean much of anything. We'll have it out here for you shortly. please go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to crimetalksearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. If you have little faith in the criminal justice system, this story will only reinforce that faith, that little faith, all right? So the South Dakota Attorney General, we've talked about this. His name is Jason Ramsborg. Well, he pled no contest to 2 of the 3 misdemeanor traffic charges related to the September 20th collision that killed 55-year-old Joseph Bover. Now, another charge is going to be dropped in the plea deal that may allow the Attorney General to avoid any jail time in the death of the pedestrian that he killed last year. Now, Ramsborg pled no contest to the charge of making an illegal lane change and using a phone while driving. As part of the plea agreement, prosecutors dropped the careless driving charge, which was the most serious charge, and the cell phone while driving and illegal lane change counts each carry a maximum sentence of 30 days in jail and a $500 fine. The state also agreed that they would remain silent as to the defendant's request for a suspended sentence. So what does that really mean? First, he pled no contest. A lot of courts don't accept a no contest plea because what it says is, well, I'm not saying I did, I'm not saying I didn't, but I'm willing to accept responsibility. Sometimes the courts will allow that on minor offenses. This seems like something the court would have demanded somebody enter a plea of guilty to. A suspended sentence is basically that jail is imposed, but not actually served on the condition that they successfully complete probation. And when a district attorney says they will stand silent as it relates to the request for a suspended sentence to the judge, that is a wink and a nod to the judge that we don't disagree, but more than likely we have to deal with the family who wants some sort of jail, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I'll let the victims state what their position is. So what that really means is the prosecutors could have fought and demanded jail, but they didn't. Now, we put up the video of the interview between Ramsborg and law enforcement agents that revealed Mr. Beaver's eyeglasses were found in the Attorney General's severely damaged vehicle. Ramsborg's claims that he had not been drinking at the political fundraising dinner and that he did not have an elevated blood alcohol level when he was tested 15 hours after the crash. As you may recall, Ramsborg called his chief of staff, and then a state trooper allowed him to drive his personal car home. That's right. The Attorney General was allowed to drive the car of the state trooper who was first on the scene. That's right. The state trooper let him drive his own personal car home. The following day, Ramsborg returns with his chief of staff, and they look, say, "Oh, look, here's the crash scene. Oh my goodness, what have happened? I thought I hit a deer." The victim's glasses, Mr. Beaver's glasses, were in the car because he had gone through the windshield. Tell me this doesn't stink, right? Well, the defense attorney for the Attorney General, he seemed to criticize the victim's family for demanding a harsher punishment. He said the family view of the incident legally didn't fit the facts of the case and therefore was basically wrong. So the defense basically said, screw the victims. They have no idea what they're talking about. And did I happen to mention that, it's the Attorney General over here, the chief law enforcement officer in the state of South Dakota, pleading no contest to charges. Well, what did the judge do? As typical, he ordered that defendant, Attorney General Ramsborg, pay $3,742.38 as restitution to the county for the costs of the investigation. He denied the request for the funeral costs to be paid to the family, saying the family had insurance proceeds to pay for the victim's funeral. Ouch. Most judges allow that, and it falls under the mandatory victims' rights funds. But I guess if you're the Attorney General, it doesn't matter. Now, a lot of people are saying that the Attorney General should resign, and if he doesn't, he should be impeached. I think the top law enforcement officer, he's the top law enforcement officer. He has to do things better and cleaner than everybody else in the state because he's out there enforcing the laws. Just like if you did something, say you were a CDL truck driver and you had your license and it was suspended, guess what? You would lose your job because of your conduct. Why is that different for politicians? They think that they're entitled to their job. You're a public servant, you failed as a public servant, and now you need to go. Let's hope the Attorney General does the right thing, but somehow I don't think he will. Apparently, he's already planning on his re-election bid. All right, have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk.